Okay, everyone, welcome. We're going to talk about the top 5 toys for your classroom today. And the key purpose is to engage our students, but with the classroom mindset that we're going to meet all of our standards that we are supposed to meet via the state, right? We have our links to our slides here. And then the first thing is we know that we have to meet these standards, right? But sometimes it can be a little boring, right? So we've all seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and we don't want a classroom where our students are falling asleep all the time. We have slobber coming out of the mouth, right? We want to have kids that are energized and just ready to go. And so we need to change the game. And how do we do that? Well, we've already started throwing technology in the classroom. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're engaged, right? We have to find reasons to tie those standards and those tools together. We can't just give them a device and assume they're engaged automatically. And that's where we get, a picture of this guy right here. And what he's doing is, this is a kid, and if you notice the title here, if I can get it to play, come on. Basically, it's this kid taking a video of his professor, and the title is "The Most Boring Class Ever," right? And he videos the guy. And what he's doing is he's using technology to present how to use your checking account effectively. But he's presenting it very dry, very boring, and basically the guy creates a video of his teacher, and he squashes him like a bug in the film and pokes his little belly. And so those are the students that we're really, we're really trying to bring in and engage, right? And that's what these tools will allow you to do. We want to create that authentic learning experience where they have hands-on, we're meeting our standards, and basically we're trying to make them believe that the skills that they're doing that are fun, okay, will engage and enrich their academic career, which is true. And this is a story about my partner who talks about Karate Kid learning, right? So we talk about Karate Kid, and Daniel's son is doing all these tasks that Mr. Miyagi is having him do, right? Wax on, wax off, and so finally Daniel's son says, "I'm fed up, Mr. Miyagi. Why am I doing all of your chores for you, right?" And Mr. Miyagi comes in, and he basically takes over and puts him through a little skills test of the wax on, wax off, but in Karate Kid mode, right? And it was like that aha moment that that Daniel's son had, like, oh, I was doing all of these things for my end result. And those are the same perspectives that we're trying to put into play here, right? And one of the first tools that we talk about is a 3D printer. And a lot of time this gets caught up in, typically your industrial tech type of classroom, but really can be multiple disciplinary, right? We have math because we need to measure, we need to understand, scopes and sizes of products and how we build those and how we design them. We also have to know that, based on temperature, what that printer does to the filament, right? How well it melts it. And then also, how thick do we want that device to be, right? When we pick it up, is it going to crumble? So we have to understand all of those different intellectual components of the 3D making process. But then we can get into language arts, right? We're going to build a product, and the kids get to have it. Like, it's in their hands, and then they get to write about it. They get to write a story about the bunny that they created and the venture that it's going to have. And it's a real life experience for them as they go through that process. Basically, as we can see here, we have, a pretty unique printing of a character here, and what a great way to really filter that in the language arts environment, whether we're talking about individually or the teacher having a product that is printed where all the students write about the same thing. And then our next thing is a virtual reality cardboard, and basically it is a device that you can use to get a virtual experience where you put in the device like so, and it has a split screen, and you can actually take a virtual tour or watch a video of anything that has the photosphere available to them, right? So if I can get this plugged in here, I'll show you what we're looking at. And so we have our split screen. So imagine this in the goggles as we look through. And as we play it, maybe. So as we play this video here in a second, we're going to be able to look around 360 degrees at any point just by moving our device. And sometimes it works and sometimes it's not when you're doing a demonstration, right? When you have a lot of Wi-Fi. So it's okay, teachers, to be vulnerable. Okay, it's okay to not have it correct, exactly working the very first time that you display it. But eventually what would happen is that you'd have an image up here, and that as a video plays, you'd be able to move your device around and you'd be able to see the whole surrounding of that environment. But unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do that demo right now, but if you want to stick around, we will definitely make that happen. So then our next topic here is a 360 fly. Okay, really neat tool. So it goes really well with the virtual reality headset here in the cardboard, because we can actually take this little device and we can video record 360 degrees. Now this is a lot different than when we video like with the GoPro, for example, right, or our phones. If I were to walk through this hallway with my phone and record, I can only see what's ahead of me. However, if I were to use this, at any time I can look back and see what's going on. I can look around as I video record. So it's changing the dynamic. I can also use this to take with me if I'm a traveler and I venture out. I can take this and travel with me, and my students can see the historical sites that I go to. They can see a live view of what they are learning about from my point of view, right, in your perspective. So we can piece that together, we can put it in our virtual reality set. But we don't have to put it in that set. We can upload it to YouTube, and we can still use our scroll features, our drag and drop, our finger swipes, or our arrow to click around and maneuver the picture as we go through. If I can, I might be able to get this one to display for you. And it seems like all of the technology is locked up now. And so, as we can see, if I set this device right here, I have a 360 view of anything from that point. And I'm going to attach it to an app. So it's app-based, where it will display on my device. Okay, and now I can use my phone to look around, all the way around, to see what's going on. Okay, and so now I can go create an authentic learning experience with that type of device for our students. The next thing is the Sphero Ball, and this really scales really well, K-12. And basically can hit any curricular aspect. Math is really easy, right? We can talk about distance. We can talk about speed, acceleration. We can get into the basics of collars, because we can change the collar of this little device and this little mechanism. It's app-based as well, so we don't have to have something special to control it or to use it. The nice thing is it's virtually indestructible. It's waterproof, so you can put it in water and drive it around. You can also, there's a video of this being shot with a bullet, and it survived. So virtually indestructible type of ball. It's about $100 for kids, and they love it. First, it's a little bit like a gaming device, right? Because you control it with your app, but there's also some coding aspects to it. So, right, we have a push from the U.S. Department right now that we want to really get kids into coding. Well, you can code this. There's 3 different types of apps that you can code with, all the way from basic to a little more extensive. And then you can also use the other 8 different apps to play different mathematical games. One example of using this would be a math teacher is going to do a predictive analysis. And what they do is they actually, they do a bowling segment where they set up water bottles and they roll this device into the water bottles, and they keep track of their score for the first 5 frames. At the end of 5 frames, they do the predictive analysis. What do most kids want to do at the end of 5 frames to guess what their score will be? They double it, right? So they now take the mathematical computations and they figure out what their end score will be based on what they have scored so far. So really neat interactions or integrations within the classroom for the Sphero Ball. The next one is the unmanned aerial vehicle. And the one thing that is really nice about these things is that ultimately they're seen as toys, right? Every kid wants one of these right now. And so as a parent, if you were to buy one, you should be a little concerned that your son or daughter knows how to not only fly it, but what that implication means for the people around them, right? So it's our job to teach them digital citizenship, especially if it has a camera. That's a DJI that has a high-def camera. This, little device here looks like a toy, has a high-def camera. So to be able to fly it over people's houses or over private property, what are the guidelines and laws behind that? But also not only the laws and guidelines is, what's the appropriateness of flying over people's heads? What if this device were to fall out of the sky from 100 feet? What type of damage would that do, right? So we have to understand that you just can't put a device in the air and go. Oh, no. So then we have a little smaller device here, right? Definitely recreational at $100. The price point's really, really easy. The nice thing, really easy to get. The nice thing about this device is that it does have a camera on the bottom side, right? So you can take pictures. There's no video with this one. It's virtually indestructible. You're not going to hurt a lot of people because it is not going to go very fast. The propellers will fall off before it cuts your hand typically. But you can have students getting used to flying devices, right? And what does it mean when you take this outside and wind gusts are 15 mile an hour versus 2 mile an hour, right? Because it's just going to float or float away from you at 15 mile an hour. So then you move to the inside environment, right? And we can talk about different type of predictive analysis of what we can do with this device. And let me see if I can get her up here. And it's really fairly simple to get your hands on these things. And if you do get your hands on these things, or your students get your hands on these things, what does that mean for them? What does it mean as a parent if you have these? Typically, we do a drone school with our students where they actually have to have certain skills and able to fly it. They talk about the flying T, and it's about making a T and flying it within that T. The nice thing about when you fly it is that then you rotate which way is the front, and you do the flying T. So your controls are reversed. And so this piece is always engaging to our students. As soon as you lift it up, they're always like, ooh and ah, right? Okay. Being able to maneuver the device, forward, backward, side to side, right? So it's a really neat product. With the wheels on there, even if you were to hit a wall, you're not going to break a lot of components. So for a classroom structure, it's a good place to start. Guaranteed to ooh and ah your students, let alone the math implications, right, of acceleration. You can also get in some other factors when it comes to height, and then perspective of taking a picture from 5 feet, 10 feet, 12 feet. What's perspective? What are we looking for, right? And so it's a really neat application for our classroom. And those are the 5 tools. You're more than welcome to demo some of them if you want to. If you're going to take the drone, just be careful. But we can drive the Spheros around. We can do the 360 fly. You can play with it. You can actually put it in the goggles here. I'll make sure it works and we'll connect it. Those are the 5 tools that we've used to teach our lessons. In our lessons, when I say lesson, in our program, our lesson includes math, language arts, digital citizenship, PE, and health. So one lesson contains all of those multiple disciplines with every single tool and is scaffolded K-12, okay? So any questions? Thank you so much, and we'll stick around and play if you want.